into stock car racing, and he got rid of the circle track cars when I was probably 5 or 6 because of time and money. And when I turned 15, 16, he had bought a 74 Duster that was a street car that had a big block racer motor in it, and we kind of tinkered around with it a little bit, and then found out about a program called Beat the Heat over at Great Lakes Dragway, and it was a bracket racing program for high schoolers that you bring your street car with, and you can race against each other, and then the winner of the night gets to race against a policeman who had a cop car built up into a race car, and that was kind of the big trophy at the end, was you get the chance to beat him and race him. So I did that junior and senior year in high school, and then went off to college and still worked on cars a bunch, but didn't do a ton of racing, and got back into it towards the end of college, I guess.
So now, currently, how many cars are you drag racing in?
We have a small fleet, so it's funny enough, my wife, who's been married for 12 years now, I met her in that Beat the Heat program, racing at Great Lakes Dragway, and back when later in high school, or later in college when we started racing again, I started seeing her around there, so we hooked up, and we've a family that races together, stays together, so we've been racing pretty much since we started dating. She's had a couple of cars, an 82 Camaro that she had raced in high school against me before we liked each other, and she was pretty successful at that, and she raced junior dragster when she was about 12 years old, so 95, 96-ish, she got an earlier start than I did, and then her and her dad had gotten a dragster together, and they raced a dragster for a few years, and now she's, excuse me, they got rid of their dragster. They're primarily driving we have a 32 Bantam Altered that I put together in 2009, 2010 as a big block Chrysler motor in it. It'll run low 8s in the quarter mile, and now she's been I ran it for 3 or 4 years in the no box class at Great Lakes Dragway, and we'd go to Martin, Michigan, or Indy with it a little bit, and then we have a 74 Duster, the one that I raced in high school. We still have, and that's like about a 1050, 1060 second car. Runs on pump gas, nothing crazy, but still streetable. Drive it, go get ice cream and whatnot, so it's kind of fun. But we have those two cars. My dad would race the Duster, and I would race the Altered, and my wife had her dragster at the time, but now she primarily drives our Altered, and I drive our Duster. My son's got a junior dragster. He's 9. He's been racing actually since he was 4 years old. We snuck him in to the racetrack. They switched the rules, so you had to be 5. But he turned 5 in November, and we got him in there in October, running down the track just to get used to it. And so we run around with him. He was the track champion at Byron Dragway in 2018, which was pretty awesome for the 6 to 10-year-old age group at 8 years old. So that was pretty fun for him and us. And then we've primarily been running out at Byron in the pro, super pro, box, no box classes for NHRA out there with our cars. About 2 years ago, we've been building another, more like a Top Sportsman 69 Charger, trying to get put together to go a little faster with, and I came across a Pro Mod car over in Amsterdam, Netherlands, called Voodoo Hemi. It's a 70 Superbird that a gentleman named Mark Hartfield had a chassis engineering build a Top Sportsman chassis essentially for him, and then had it shipped over to him in Europe, and him and his team put a motor together, and they went Top Sportsman racing with it for 2 years over there in 2013, 10 and 11 and maybe part of 12, and then they took the season off and they decided they wanted to go pro mod racing with it and put a big blown Hemi in it, and they raced that for a couple seasons over there, getting down to best time of low sixes, 607, 609 kind of time, 200 and, I don't know if they hit 230, I think 228 was the fastest they had gone. But the car is really awesome. It's just, it's big. It's not the newer pro mods are all super aerodynamic, 7/8 scale cars. This is still a full-size fiberglass carbon fiber body car, so it's still punching kind of a big hole in the air. So it's in the United States, it really doesn't stand a chance at running pro mod because of the aerodynamics. But we're putting that together, getting really close. Thought we'd have it out this season. It's probably not going to make its debut until April or May of 2020 now, but it'll be fine. It's got a 521 Brad Anderson Hemi in it. Bought it off of Sam Jenkins, who used to crew for Steve Hawker, who won the NHRA Funny Car Championship with this motor. We bought that screw blower to pan all ready to go, mechanical fuel injected, and we're working on getting that put in the car. And we went to PRI in 2017, and we ran into Mick Snyder, and he was promoting his the ComSync electronic fuel injection data acquisition stuff, and thought he was he's been super successful in his career racing, race 20 car, race all the Pro X kind of classes and top sportsmen. He kind of convinced us that we don't want to be trying to bracket race with a screw blower, and if we want to do something different, maybe try it out, this electronic fuel injection. So my father and I started getting the car ready for that, and we're all pretty well set up with our ComSync system in there. It's got 8 fuel injectors on the intake, 8 fuel injectors up on the blower. We ended up putting a Cabelco 1471 blower on there. Competitive Pro Mod blower setup, but again, we're going to primarily try to top sportsman race with it and hit some of the more local heads-up races or the local Pro Mod, maybe if they do like the World Series of drag racing kind of races, try to go head-to-head with those guys kind of thing once we get our feet wet in it. But that's kind of where we're at.
Now, Steve, have you ever thought about trying to run with the Chicago Wise Guys?
Yes, actually we were at the World Series here about a month ago or a couple weeks ago, and talked with Chuck West with his Saratoga a bit. A couple of the other guys I know Kusha a little bit with he's got his Duster, his nitrous Duster, and those guys look like they're having a whole lot of fun. I'm really hoping we can get some stuff dialed in there and get in with those guys. That would be a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome group of guys.
A lot of cool cars. I like that a lot because it's kind of like how the real Pro Mods used to be. They were always different bodies, always unique looking cars, and that's kind of what I think Pro Mod got so popular and why Pro Stock is kind of dying, as everything looks the same, and unfortunately I think Pro Mod's going that direction again. Everything's pretty much a Camaro body or not even the Mustang anymore, and I know I like watching a lot of Stevie Fast videos and blurbs that he does, and the only reason he switched from a Mustang body to a Camaro body is because they're supposedly 400 or 500 faster for aerodynamic wise. It doesn't matter what body's on there for him. It matters how fast he's going to go. That's what pays the bills. And I don't know. That's the cool thing with the Wise Guys. There's not two cars that are the same out there. They're pretty unique for sure.
Yeah. Awesome president of the Wise Guys, Pete Demo's been doing that for 25 years now.
Wow, that's spectacular for sure. They're that class, and then this Midwest Top Sportsman's a little milder class, but again, there's getting to be quite a few high 6-second cars in there, and I'd like to be one of the, when we get done, we should be able to run 640s, 650s, and check the valve lash in between rounds, and that's about it. I don't want to turn it into a check bottom end bearings every run kind of thing. If you want to set the thing up on stun to go really try to kill it or something, it'll be the opportunity will be there. But my idea is to try to have a low maintenance 650 kind of car, or right around the 4.0, 399, 395 kind of time, 8th mile times.
Yeah.
There's another series, the Midwest Pro Mod series is, again, probably wouldn't be, they're all pretty much 8th mile races, or they are all 8th mile races. But those guys are 380s, 370s, but they're running a Top Sportsman group with them as well. But it's a fast Top Sportsman group. It's 450s or better for time. So it's another kind of a fun group I'd like to be around and be able to go see.
Now, with the Alter your wife drives, does that run on gas or alcohol?
Gasoline right now. Well, I have aspirations this winter of putting a better cam in there, and I was kind of limited racing at the Grove or at any NHRA pro class. They limit you for how fast you can go, and I think it was 9 flat is the fastest, or 895 or 890 or something like that is the fastest you can go in a quarter mile and be in the pro class. Otherwise, they make you run in the super pro class, which is a delay box in there. And I'm more into the bottom bulb racing. I'm not a top bulb racer right now. And I actually would slow the car up. I have a pretty small carburetor. Rather than run a big Dominator on there, I run a 750 Holley carburetor, and then I disconnect the secondary linkage so it runs on 2-barrel, and the car would run right around 9 seconds. So it was nice because I was always the fastest car in the class. Couldn't be any faster. And now that she runs the car, but Byron, they don't let you run anything but a door car in the no box class to keep all the racers happy. So she runs that in the box class, and we still have a small carburetor on there, but it runs 840s or 850s with that carb on there in the quarter mile, 530s, 540s in the 8th. But the dragsters there, it's pretty much all, it seems to be everything switching to 8th mile, at least for bracket racing in the Midwest even now. They're, the dragsters are usually 480s, 490s, so she's getting chased all the time. I'm going to put a more aggressive camshaft in this winter and probably put it on alcohol to get it to run at least in the 490 range, to be a lot closer to so they can do a little easier job finish line driving for bracket racing. That's kind of the plan.
So now, for you, when you started drag racing back in was it 99? You said, right?
Yep.
So when you started drag racing, were there any drag racers out there that inspired you at all, like say John Force or stuff like that?
Yeah, I drag racing. It just doesn't seem to be. It wasn't on TV near as much. I think I had more aspirations, I was more into the local racers, more impressed by them, the people that were winning rounds in bracket racing, which was like the Joe Moravic's in the area. I used to love, they would run a quick 8 or a quick 16, and Kilpatrick always had their Plymouth, their 63 out there, and they still run that in a lot of the, I don't even know what they call the no prep races out at the Grove now. They don't call it, I can't think of the name, what it used to be.
Yeah,
this year now.
Yeah, there's a few of them now. You got like Anarchy, and you got like King.
Anarchy, yeah. Now you can out to Anarchy. It used to be. I can't think of it. What it was.
Then you got King of the Streets.
Yeah, Cots used to be Cots, and then I don't know if that's. No, I think that's Anarchy or something like that. But those guys are kind of cool ones that it was awesome to see, and then.
Now, how about a guy like Arnie the Farmer Beswick?
Arnie's, we got to go meet Arnie at this 3 weeks ago at the World Series, and I knew of Arnie and what he had done, and never really got to go and talk to him much. And my wife wanted to meet Shirley Muldowney, and she was there, so we went over there and talked to her. And then Arnie was out by his car, and I wanted to introduce my wife Christine to him just to meet him. And I knew of bad fire he was in probably 10 or 15 years ago. My wife wasn't aware of that, and so you could see him. And he was having problems with his generator, trying to get it running. I was running out of fuel. I told him let me go get him some fuel, and he was greatly appreciative and wanted to give us some DVDs and take some stuff. I'm like, no, Arnie, I was just so appreciative. I told him just for what he's done for drag racing. I said, you have no idea what you've done for the sport, and I'm just glad to help. And then I talked to him my wife and I, probably for a half hour, 40 minutes, just about us and racing and him. And he had all his binders out about all the race cars. I think he started racing, and his first real race car was a 56 Chrysler. And tell me how he used to, it was on the tree, how he would break the steering columns out of them every 2 or 3 races because they were so hard on them. They just kept breaking. He says, if you could figure out why those things kept breaking or how to keep one of those in there, he says, you just couldn't lose with them. And then he was interested in us, and told him we had a son, and my son Aiden was there, and he wanted to meet Aiden. So we went and got Aiden down there, and it was like 10 o'clock at night, and brought Aiden over there, and him and Aiden hit it off, and they just talked. And my son's very, very outgoing for a 9-year-old, and asks a million questions, but very intriguing questions. And he's very much a car guy, and he's addicted to the drug of racing like us, and at such a young age. But Arnie just was overwhelmed with speaking with him. But what I couldn't believe was all the details that he remembers about from 56 to, he could tell you in 1962 what cars he raced and what races he went to and how he got down there and how he won the first NHRA actual race down in Florida, and how he got protested because he brought a 4-speed Pontiac, and Pontiac didn't have a 4-speed out yet, and it had to be a production car, and they had a telegraph letter, Western Union, to him out there from Pontiac, and then they had somebody drive out from there to prove that they did make that car, because he had like one of 3 or 4 cars. It was one of the first ones off the assembly line that they wanted him to go race. And I just, he's 89 years old, and he's obviously with his bad fire he was in, but his mind is so good. He is so outgoing. He is a cool guy. Pretty awesome dude.
Yeah, now he finally retired. Finally retired and got a driver to drive for his car now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So who is the driver of the car? You know the driver's name that's driving for him now?
I don't right now. I met him and introduced him. It's a neighbor for him, and he's super happy because it's him and then his son. His son's a little older. I think he's 12. He might have been 14, and he's there helping with the car. And they're I don't remember his name though, but he was a super nice guy too.
Yeah, I heard he's a pretty good driver.
Yep, he's a local. He runs. He's got a dragster that he races at the local racetrack at Cordova quite a bit. He came down to Byron for the 100-grander this year, I know. And it was funny though, when we were talking to Arnie, and his driver made a pass in his car for him, and he was doing a heads-up race against one of the other. I think they had a Nostalgia Pro Stock car out there or something. And Arnie was very concerned and wanted to know what kind of light that his driver cut, and did he get him, and if not, why? And it was what did the car run? He was it was just like it was a real match race, and he won. He did not want to be second for his car.
Wow. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. So who else did you guys get to meet at the World Series?
I'm trying to think. The Nanook family that drives a fuel altered. They I love watching. They have that. The Nook's usually there. Rat Trap was there. Pure Madness or
Nitro Madness.
Nitro Madness was there, I think, and then Pure Hell. That's the fourth one. I think it's Pure Hell. Nitro Madness. Yeah, they did 4 of them. But Friday night, the Nook took a lap, and the chute didn't come out, and he put it past the sand trap into the corn. So that was real late. We went, and Saturday morning, when we were killing time, I went over there with my son, and we were talking to him, and he's 22 or 23 years old. He's the third generation driver. His dad was probably in his late 60s, early 70s, but he's missing his right hand, I believe, and he had an accident with the car, and it rolled over on him, and his hand had flown out and got damaged enough that they had to remove it. And then his grandpa, I think his grandpa was there too, who started racing the car. But now now he runs the car primarily. And unfortunately, they had bent the chassis going into the corn. The right front was pretty tweaked on it, and they were done for the weekend. He was pretty bummed. They drove all the way out from Las Vegas for the race, and he showed me the in-car video. He had a GoPro strapped to the top frame or hoop of the alter cage, and you see it going. And what happened was he has 2 levers for the chutes. He usually throws one lever and threw the lever, but the cable was in too far, and the cable didn't come out far enough, so the chute didn't deploy. And then he got on the handbrake, and it started hopping on him. And by the time he got the other chute out, it was, he was only going like 100 or so, and it never blossomed. Well, he hit the sand at just under 100, he estimates, and it just went pitch black, and you just hear the corn, and he was all right, no problem. He was just bummed that it happened on Friday, and he didn't get to make any laps on Saturday, and they tweaked the car a little bit, but they had to pull the blower out and stuff because they had corn through the injector hat down into the blower, and it was kind of a mess. But he was very interested, and again, my son was very interested in talking to him, and super nice guy. Asked my son if he raced, and they were talking for a while, and my son Aiden had asked him if he would come up and watch him race, and he's like, absolutely. He's like, just let me know when you go up there. So about 45 minutes later, we went up, for my son was racing his junior, and my son Aiden, he's like, hey, can we ask Kyle to go that I'm racing? I'm like, sure, buddy, but if he's busy, don't bug him too much. So he went over there, and Kyle said he'll be up there, and we're up in line, and he's getting his helmet on, he's in there, and he's looking at, sure enough, Kyle shows up, and he went all the way to the starting line with him, and Aiden was just beaming ear to ear, and fortunately Aiden had won that round, and Kyle was like, that was awesome, and he used to race juniors and stuff, and he went back to his pits, and I got to go to pick Aiden up, and Aiden wanted to go find out if Kyle had watched him and tell him that he won. I said, well, he was there, buddy. He said, well, I want to go talk to him. So we went over and talked to him and gave him high fives and stuff, and Kyle gave him a hat, and he's like, well, let me know when you run again, buddy. I'll come up and watch you. And a couple hours later, we go up there, and Aiden let him know we were going up there, and this time Kyle goes up there. He had 3 of his crew guys go up there on the golf cart, so they're all standing on the line like it's a top field team watching Aiden run, and Aiden just thought it was the coolest thing, and it really was. It really meant a lot to him, and we fortunately, and Aiden won that round too, but it got so late at the World Series, it was 4th round, and it was going to be at like 10:30, 11. They canceled the rest of the junior program for the night for safety, which was the right call, but he didn't get to do another run. But I made a post on the Nooks website thanking them for how kind they were to my son and how much it meant to him, and they were thrilled, and they said, oh, when we get there next year, if your guys are up there, let them know. And he said, we want to put him in the car so he can warm the car up for us. So we're super looking forward to that for next year, because that'll be right up Aiden's alley.
Oh, yeah, get behind the wheel of a nitro car and warm it up. Oh, yeah.
Right.
So did you guys meet any of the big show drivers that came out there?
We We went over to Bell. Orsham was there. Now we usually go to Joliet, and we're not too far from Route 66, and we go watch the pros there. And we usually do Aiden's in glory there too. We'll go. My wife's in love with Matt Hagen, so we go talk to Hagen a bit. We saw Jack Beckman. Got Courtney we talked to a little bit, or got her autograph. I'm trying to think who else we got. Couple Greg Anderson, not Jason Line. What else did we see? Jaggy. Jaggy's an awesome guy to talk to too. I work at the Chrysler assembly plant in Belvedere, and we were building the Dodge Darts in 2012, 13, 14. I think those were the years that we were building the Dart. And Pro Stock switched to a Dodge Dart in, I think I want to say it was 2013. And so Jaggy, being the Mopar sponsor guy, they had to switch to Dodge Darts as well. So they came to the plant the weekend before Joliet to kind of get a tour of the plant, and they actually brought their Pro Stocks into the plant, and all plant people got to drool over them, look at them, and got to talk to him for a while. He is a really cool dude too. What I like about him is he still does a ton of grassroots bracket racing. I know he was at the Million here in was that June or May or June. He got down to like 4 cars or 5 cars, however the split was. It was pretty awesome. He's a heck of a racer, bracket racer, even though he gets to run Pro Stock stuff, but pretty spectacular. He still gets out and does that kind of thing. Who else do we see? Tim Wilkerson. He's another one. We're pretty. I don't say we're really good friends, but we race with Bob Bodie, and Bob Bodie Jr. runs. He's 16 now, but he still runs a junior out at Byron primarily, and my son's out there, and we're always talking to him. He's kind of a smaller team, Nitro Funny Car team, but he runs 6 or 8 of the races generally. And Joliet being a home track, he's always there, so we get to go talk to him, and he's got Tim Wilkerson kind of helping him, not as like a full team car, but gives him pointers, gives him basically Tim Wilkerson's old stuff. He kind of gives Bob a deal on to run, and he's got his old chassis now and stuff. But we get to go see them, and I saw also at the PRI Tim was there. The same year we talked to Mick. It was 20. We didn't see him much last year. Year before we said they usually have a happy hour on that's Friday evening, Thursday evening. They do a happy hour after about 5 or 6 o'clock, right when the show ends, and free drinks and appetizers and such. And we got to sit at the table with Tim's walks in with his championship jacket and just shooting the breeze with him. And he was more interested in finding out what kind of cars we race and what we do than us asking him about his stuff. It was just like you and I are talking. He's just a normal guy. He's a pretty cool dude.
That's awesome. So now back to you, Steve. What was your experience like the first time driving down a drag strip?
Yeah, man, that was a long time ago. I don't know if I was, my first couple years of racing were pretty. It was probably whatever everybody thinks that they should do. All they want to do is make your car go faster, do the smokiest burnouts, and make a lot of noise. And we would always be tweaking on stuff, changing stuff, trying to anything you can do to make the car go a little bit faster. But unfortunately, we didn't race in heads-up racing. We raced in bracket racing, so we were doing everything we could to make bracket racing as difficult as possible. And it probably took 3 or 4 years to go fast, and should I shift it different, or what can I do while I'm going down the racetrack to make the car go faster? Well, it was doing a lot more harm than good. But I don't know, it's a hard thing to explain. I don't know why it's so enjoyable. There's so much downtime in drag racing. You only get to be on the track for 10, 15 seconds with your burnouts and stuff, and but it's like everything gets so quiet, everything it's loud. You get to be so focused on what's going on up there, and sometimes you get back and it's like, oh, what just happened? It was like your body just takes over and does what it knows how to do, and you don't even know what had just happened. It's kind of weird.
So now, when you go out racing, how many crew members do you have with you?
It's just the family. Lately it's when we'll go run like Cordova was kind of a busy day. Saturday we ran my son races. I race my Duster, and my wife's running our Altered, so we're running all three cars. In between, they ran her class first, then they ran juniors, then they ran my class, and we hurried up. That was her class, and we have twin girls that are 5 years old. They just turned 5, so they're troopers. They're on the golf cart while we're zipping around trying to get that all going. My father-in-law's usually there at the local races. He's there helping with the kids and stuff, but when my wife goes up there, I'm doing her tires and figuring out dial-ins and checking weather, and my son's been getting into wanting to do the tire pressures more and backing into the water box and doing those things. So that's helping a lot. And then when I go up, my wife does the same thing. But as my son's getting older, he's becoming a lot more helpful, and he wants, when we get the Superbird going, he wants to be doing the wheelie bar and with their headset back and doing all those kinds of things. So get pretty excited about that. But usually it's just us. I've got a good friend, Jeff Bird, who is a big Mopar guy that I've been starting to work with, and he's coming over and help work on the car every now and then with me. He's all amped up. He wants all the dates that I'm going to go to the racetrack with the Top Sportsman Pro Mod car to shake it out. So I know I can count on him for some help, and my father-in-law is a wealth of knowledge, and my father too. He's more tied up working and stuff. Retires here in a few months. I'm sure he will be out to the racetrack a lot more once that happens. So we'll have a small family crew, but looking forward to it.
Now, when you go out racing, do you have any pre-race rituals or superstitions?
The only thing I would say, I know on my Duster, those hood pins, they got to be in from the outside in. I can't put them from the inside out. They got to be a certain direction, and that's about it. Not to when you get deeper in the rounds, it's I like to stay as loose as possible, and like to talk about lots of things and hang out with buddies, and not be paying attention to so much what's going on. I don't care so much what the other racers are doing before me. I almost don't even want to know. I don't want to know their dial-ins until I get up to the right before you do the burnout, kind of, and then it's kind of like, all right, I didn't overthink this. I do my game or my thing. It doesn't change on who I'm racing. It doesn't matter so much who I'm racing against, because I'll end up just psyching myself out. You always have those people you want to beat or you don't want to lose to, or you think they're better than you, and you know what? Everyone's human. On any given day, anybody can do well or do poor. You got to have a good car. You got to have a good driver, but you also got to have some luck. If you don't have all three of those, you're not winning races. It's just one of those things.
So what's your favorite track to run on?
I really love running at Indianapolis. We'll be going there this coming up weekend for the Division III Indy Bracket Finals. It's just, when you get there, and they just ran the Nationals last weekend with the pros there, and they'll still have a lot of that memorabilia stuff will be hanging up there. The track is so beautiful. All the professional crews are there. When you pull them through after the staging lanes, pulling up onto the track, you get to go under that overpass. It's so special. It's a pretty cool feeling. Local, regular grassroots track, Byron Dragway. It used to be Great Lakes. We used to only run at Great Lakes Dragway. and I don't say bad things about it. Just it's kind of gone downhill in the last 10 years substantially. And so about 5 years ago, we switched to running over at Byron Dragway, and it is such a family-friendly owner, BJ Magnus and his son-in-law Randy. Now his son-in-law, they do a spectacular job at running races, taking care of the crew. There's not a harder working track owner that I don't think you could. I mean, the guy is there when you show up Friday before racing Saturday and Sunday. Friday you can go there and camp, or go there to get set up and get your pit set up and camp. He's there and dragging the track, talking to the kids, giving your dog a dog treat, obviously taking your money to race for the weekend. And then Saturday morning, he's the first one there. He's out dragging the track. Before your first round, you're getting ready to go down. They do a national anthem. They do a prayer out there. He's in the staging lanes, shaking her hand, telling you to be safe, have a fun day. If there's anything, let him know. And it's just super awesome feeling. And when you're leaving, thank you for coming. Hey, we appreciate you. He's and I mean, yes, we are his customer, but it's an overwhelming feeling, and you don't get that at Route 66. Unfortunately, you really don't get that feeling. There's such an incredible facility there, but they really don't care to have the grassroots bottom feeder, I call them drag racers there, that just don't get a good feeling that you're welcome there, and it's really a nice, fun place to go bracket racing, and we enjoy it a lot. Very kid friendly, family friendly, and again, you don't see a harder worker out there, and he's the owner of the racetrack. He just wants everything to be perfect for you. It's pretty cool.
Now, how about Cordova?
Cordova's a nice track. The track surface is outstanding. The shutdown's a little rough. I know the top sportsman guys will always run 8th mile there just because trying to get shut down there after the finish line is a little bumpy. The first 1,320 feet is gorgeous. But we haven't run. We usually only go there for the World Series, and it's kind of a hectic, busy craziness there, but enjoy it. The pits are nice and large. The pits are just so sandy there just because of the soil. It's kind of, everything gets to be a mess. They used to get the hauler and the trailer all cleaned up, ready to go out there, golf cart clean, race cars pristine, and go out to that race, and then it just gets destroyed out there. So now we wait till after the World Series to wash everything up because of the mess everything gets out there. But definitely like the track surface, and I know that's the most important part.
Now, do you have any hobbies outside of drag racing, Steve?
I like building cars. We really like snowmobiling in the winter. That's probably our favorite thing to do as a family. We go up to northern Wisconsin, northern UP, Michigan, and we'll spend 4 or 5 weekends a winter there doing a lot of snowmobiling and no camping, but hanging out at the hotel with families and those kinds of things. But otherwise, we like going out on the boat every now and then, doing some fishing and golfing. My son loves to golf, so we got him into golfing. So I like to golf. We do a lot of golfing, and otherwise, it's running, chasing kids around, they got to do sports, hockey, and typical girl stuff. They like to do dancing, gymnastics, and things like that.
Now, have you had one most embarrassing moment on the track?
On the track, I think we haven't had any major components fall off. I guess we had one. I was racing at Union Grove one of the last years before we switched to start running at Byron and making the time run, and the car left, and about 60 or 100 feet out, I heard this terrible noise, like something went, and kind of like let off, and everything seemed fine. And I shut off though right away, and I got out, and the starter was Dennis was there, and he bends over, and I have a small personal little fire extinguisher mounted in the center of the car. Well, it came loose, and it rattled its way out and went down out the rear tire, and the rear tire shot it out at him. It was kind of hysterical. Fortunately, it didn't set it off, but it was kind of funny. And, probably followed up closely with when you go warm a car up in the morning, you got to make sure there's fuel in the gas tank, because you get all the way down to usually you go warm it up on the return road, and it's no fun getting all the way to the end of the return road and running out of fuel in the morning for all your buddies to stop and say, hey, what's wrong, and then you have to take the ride of shame back to go get a fuel can. So that's probably right up there with the second embarrassing moment.
All right, now, what would you consider to be the fondest memory of your drag racing career so far?
Probably of my career, probably winning in 2013. We finally won the box combo race. It was probably 140, 150 racers there at Union Grove right before the program kind of was going downhill, and to be able to be a no box car and be the winner of the no box guys, and then do the runoff against the box guys, and it was a $2,500 to win race. Nothing crazy money, but just there's a couple of racers that I had gotten to race against. Billy Curtis Jr. was always a great bracket racer. Mitch Vincent, I remember beating him, I think, 6th round. Didn't get any buy runs that day. It was 9 rounds, I think it was. It was a lot of racing, and didn't get done till after 11 o'clock at night under the lights. Started at 10 in the morning, and that was pretty awesome being able to do that with my dad, and my son was there, my wife. But probably last year though. Now overall, hoping my son win his championship last year as a junior. That was pretty awesome. Pretty fun for. I don't think he realizes how hard it is to win a championship of anything. Could only dream of winning a championship for myself, but it was pretty awesome being able to see him beat. There's like 35 or 40 cars in his class, and there's about 40 cars of the older age kids, but he was on the younger side for his age to be whooping up on them, and came down to the last race, and it was pretty awesome for him to be on top there. He got to go to the big banquet at the end of the year and give a cool speech, and it was pretty awesome.
All right, now, Steve, I want to thank you very much for taking the time to do the interview. You have any final words or anything before we close?